I think there's one chair over there in the front that they put there.
Quality feedback.
Don't worry about it.
All about word feedback that you give all. While we're waiting on that, one thing I want to talk about this time is sleep. I know all of us, if I look around the room, I bet a lot of people don't get enough. They just search and search, they'll go to bed, number and all that. There's a couple things you can do. There is a neat, you've sent Fitbit you can get now and all this stuff you can get on your wrist. It will monitor how you sleep during the night, so make sure you get good solid sleep. So keep that in mind. I know it's a cost for you, but it works good to see how much you toss and turn and so forth. So keep that in mind. A little tidbit of information for the evening. Our second speaker for this evening is Mike Matthews. Evaluating Mike will be Stephanie Kuno. Stephanie, would you please stand and explain to us what Mike's objective is for his speech tonight?
My speech is project number 5 from the Competent Communication Manual. The objectives are to use stance, movement, gestures, facial expressions to express his message and to make his body language smooth and natural. He's also shared with me that this speech is one that he's done previously, but he wants it to be evaluated under this project lens.
What do you do to keep healthy? He put a little different twist in it. He talks about mental health. And he says mental and emotional health is most important to me at this stage of his life. To keep them both in line, I block out all negative energy from people on social media, read and have consistent meetups with my accountable partner, which helps me out a lot. Good advice. My speech tonight is titled, Burn Your Boat. Please welcome to the lectern, Mike Matthews.
Alexander the Great had a burning desire to conquer the shores of Persia. But as you can imagine, this land was highly guarded and secured by a massive amount of soldiers. But despite the odds and the challenges ahead, he rounded up the troops and set sail. And when they got there, Alexander ordered the soldiers to burn the boats that carried them. And as you can see the boats going up into flames, I know that's a sign, but still. He said to his men, either we return on Persian boats or we perish. Either we win or we die. And as you can imagine, they won. In my life, I faced many boat burning moments in which I forced myself to burn the boat that carried my comfort zone, to burn the boat that carried my ego and my street-like mentality. I left everything on the boat that had me duct taped to the pavement, everything that had my future hostage. It all seemed sweet at birth. I was born into what they like to call a happy-go-lucky marriage. My mom had her own hair salon. My dad had his own plumbing business. Seemed like a happy, devoted father in a Brady Bunch family. But then it happened. Ashley, Mike, Tonio, grab your things, let's go! In the midnight, we took the Greyhound from South Carolina back to Washington, D.C. We left everything. We left everything. That decision ultimately left us homeless, living in shelters, until my mom was able to get back on her feet. See, struggle, that's an understatement. I've sold drugs, I've stolen cars, I've been in many senseless acts, one in which left me handcuffed and detained. I was out on the streets trying to be a man, learning how to be a man from a woman. Didn't get me very far. But then I grabbed my life by the neck and I roughed it up. And I applied for college and I got accepted. But 1 week before I was slated to enter the University of Maryland Eastern Shore, I got into a serious car accident that was this close to taking my life. And all my lawyer could say is, just keep going to therapy, delay the college, and keep going to therapy. I could get you $50,000. But $50,000 wasn't worth my future. So I went to college. I maintained a 3.4 cumulative GPA while in 3 organizations in the honors program and working 30 hours a week. I worked hard. My logic then and my logic now is you may be smarter than me, you may be wealthier than me, but you can never outwork me. Never. I was put to the test again. It was my senior year. I was stressed, pondering the thought of returning back to the environment that nearly led to my destruction. I prayed like I never prayed before, and I applied to jobs like my life depended on it. And through networking, I was fortunately able to land a job interview with the U.S. Census Bureau. The only problem though, it was a hop, a skip, and a jump away from the people and the places that I was trying to get away from in Maryland. So I put that opportunity on hold and decided to pursue other options. And on a sunny day, University of Maryland Eastern Shore, I met a guy by the name of John Thompson. And after a casual conversation, he agreed to work with me and help me find a job in corporate America. But only on 2 conditions though. See, John, he was all about education and image. He wanted me to add on classes around mainframe technology onto my schedule, my last semester, you know how that is. Added on heavier load. Then he wanted me to sharpen up my image. I don't wear suits, I didn't have my hair cut, I had dreads, long dreads like this. And I thought about it. It took me weeks and weeks before I made this decision. He was a former executive at IBM. He had the credibility, and he also had my best interests at heart. So I decided to cut my hair, and I added on classes. And he held up his end of the deal. He got me a job interview with IBM in Tampa, Florida, and Fidelity Investments in Irving, Texas. I flew to Florida for free. I was in a hotel that overlooked the ocean and the palm trees. I knocked the interview out, I looked good, I smelled good, and I was ready to go. And it all came down to one question though. Do you consider yourself to be business or technical? Well, I have a computer science degree, so I said business to make me sound more well-rounded. And wrong answer, Michael. He wanted somebody more technical. So he hired a friend of mine. It was only one down and one to go. Fidelity Investments was my only hope. It was my only vehicle to escape. They had a very strenuous selection process though. They flew 3 representatives to the University of Maryland Eastern Shore from Texas to DC to interview myself and 15 others. And out of 15 people, I was the only one that they selected to go to the next round of interviews. But it didn't stop there. They took me through 4 phone interviews, and then I got the call to come down to Irving, Texas for a final in-person interview. But the only thing about it was during finals week. I had finals on the date that they set, and that was the only date. So I used what I had, get what I want. I talked my way into moving my finals around. And when I landed in Dallas, Texas, I was more determined than I ever been in my life. Either I get this job or I go home. Either I win, may not perish, but I wasn't gonna survive. After a long day, and I went in there and I fought. Through question, went through 4 technical interviews back to back with 4 different groups. And when I headed out and I gave it my all. So I felt good because I did everything I could do. That was out of my hands. And he called me back to his office. Tony Morrison, the Senior Vice President of Fidelity Investment Technology Group, called me into his office and shook my hand and offered me the job. It took everything. I couldn't hold my composure. I burned the boat, and I went after what I felt was rightfully mine. And I made it. Mama, we made it! But then I snapped back into reality. I was broke. I didn't even have enough money to go back to the airport for my job interview. That's sad. But I must have a broke look on my face because then he offered to take me back to the airport. But as I'm standing here today, I'm a systems programmer for Fidelity Investments. I'm a living testament that anything can happen. Went from the streets to corporate America. All it takes is a vision and a level of persistence that doesn't recognize failure. And I know every last person in here tonight has a vision, something that you want to do. You're running for a position in the student body, student government. You want to be a motivational speaker. And there's a million reasons why that thing won't work. Take all of that, all of the naysayers, all of the negative things, your conditions, your insecurities, and throw it in the boat. burn it and fight for that thing, and you'll make it. Thank you. Oh, sorry, I was broke.
Thank you, Mike.